there we are live on YouTube. Dove, Karen, Michale, this mic is all yours.
Okay, good morning, everyone. And that was a great introduction because you took the words right out of my mouth, Lynn. Truly. I was looking in the mirror just a little while ago because I was shaving. And I said, this is not who I am. This is not what I am. And I think that, I just put up, we need a good coach. And we all know that spirit is always with us. And by saying, like lesson 25 says, I don't know what anything is for. You're stepping back and allowing spirit to step forward and to lead you and to guide you. And I think that that was the guidance I received because, looking in the mirror, shaving, and I'm saying to myself, this is not what I am. And that goes with today's lesson, which happens to be part of that thing. My mind holds only, only what I think with God. And certainly God doesn't know anything about bodies. And exactly as you said, I am not this body. I mean, that's the numero uno metaphysics of this course. And the meta of the metaphysics, the meta is the idea that this is not who I am. Yeah, I think I put this up a little bit earlier. Um, did I put it up? Yeah, here it is. The highest thought that I can attain in this ego circus, and it is a three-ring circus. It's a crazy upside down world that I am capable of. Is this is not who I am? I just put it up in the chat. The highest thought that I can attain as Dove, the ego, is I am capable. I'm what I'm most easily capable of as the truth is this is not who I am. I may not know who I am. And even Jesus says in the Course, you will not know until you restore your mind to the awakened state. Certainly my mind is not in the awakened state, but I know what I'm not. And that's a good start. It's a good start. And you also know what your brother is not. Your brother is not that body. That goes perfectly with that haunting question that Jesus asked, are you willing to see your brother sinless? Now the ego says, well, are you crazy? I mean, he cheated me. He lied to me. What do you mean? Sinless. Well, no, that's not who my brother is. That's not what my brother is. And with that, I'm going to say good morning, everybody. We're here, exactly as Lynn said, for the 3 A's of metaphysics. And I have Michale here and Karen here. And thank you all for being here. And I'm going to turn this mic on over to you, Karen. Maybe you give us the opening prayer. Pray us in. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dove. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for being here. We're going to open up with the truly helpful prayer. Today, let's remember to only speak when spoken through, the voice for God. To only speak when spoken through, the voice for God. You can do much on behalf of your own healing and that of others if, in a situation calling for help, you think of it this way. I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent Him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because He who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever He wishes, knowing He goes there with me. I will be healed as I let Him teach me to heal. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for that, Karen. Michale, do you want to share some?
Sure.
Okay.
I thank you, Karen. Thank you, Dove. I love how you said you were shaving this morning in the mirror, Dove, and how you were being the observer, the decision maker, and having the experience of viewing that you were that the experience of the witness that you were observing, the viewer shaving the person in the dream. So that was really beautiful. And I love today's lesson too. And to keep, my mind holds only what I think with God, keeping the bowl empty, only filling it with the thoughts of God. And I'd like to uh, read something from the manual teachers on defenselessness because it goes with the other review lesson. If I defend myself, I am attacked. God's teachers have learned how to be simple. They have no dreams that need defense against the truth. They do not try to make themselves. Their joy comes from their understanding who created them. And does what God created need defense? No one can become an advanced teacher of God until he fully understands that defenses are but foolish guardians of mad illusions. The more grotesque the dream, the fiercer and more powerful its defenses seem to be. Yet, when the teacher of God finally agrees to look past them, he finds that nothing was there. Slowly at first, he lets himself be undeceived, but he learns faster as his trust increases. It is not danger that comes when defenses are laid down. It is safety, it is peace, it is joy, and it is God. And yesterday I kept hearing a voice that said you're going to be totally surprised today. And it's a little difficult to tell if it's your ego because it sounds just like the Holy Spirit. So I just let it go. And the voice kept repeating through the day, you're going to be totally surprised today. And in the late afternoon, I was totally surprised. I received a phone call from someone that was always on the attack, and I just remained at peace and defenseless in it. It was such a beautiful conversation because that person felt the freedom and the gentleness in the conversation that I was coming from non-judgment of them and just love. And we ended the phone call with telling that person that I loved them. And so it was a really nice day. And each day there's progress here. And I love the teacher's manual too, because it's gentleness. The teachers of God are gentle. And then joy is the inevitable result from that. The open hands of gentleness are always filled. So when you're gentle, your hands are always filled. And to keep the mind empty only with the thoughts of God. And so, how you said last week, Dove, that it is already accomplished, I'd like to just read a little from Ramana Maharshi, who was from 1879 to 1950. We loosely talk of self realization for lack of a better term, but how can one realize or make real that which alone is real? All we need to do is to give up our habit of regarding as real that which is unreal. All religious practices are meant solely to help us do this. When we stop regarding the unreal as real, then reality alone will remain, and we will be that. Ramana Maharshi, 1879 to 1950. When we stop regarding the unreal as real, then reality alone will remain, and we will be that, and it is already accomplished. Thank you, and I hand the mic over to you, Dove.
Okay, thank you so much, Michale. Thank you, thank you. um, I think I heard you talking about the idea of choosing one or the other. And that's really what Jesus is asking us in the Course. One of the most famous lines in the Course you find in chapter 11 in section 2, and I'll put it up here so we can all read it together. We did do that in our earlier class. It starts at 8:30, but let's look at it again. He asked the question, I've just put it up. Would you be hostage to the ego or host to God? You will accept only whom you invite. And, we are in the 3 A's of metaphysics. And again, thank you so much, Michale. You mentioned the word, it's already accomplished. So the first A is to be aware of what the meta is. And what is the meta but that which is beyond the physical? As long as you relate to the physical, you're looking in the bathroom mirror and you're seeing yourself and you say, hey, I'm looking pretty good today. Less wrinkles. So you're talking about something that is not what we are. The whole Course is about returning to what we are. So he says, would you be hostage to the ego or host to God? Well, you are hostage to the ego as long as you are adoring the body and seeing others as bodies. And I mean, that's being hostage to the ego. That's what an ego does. Constantly comparing, constantly competing, constantly trying to do better, more, whatever. Or you accept whom you invite, and you invite by saying, I do not know what anything is for. Let me step back and let him lead the way. So you are inviting the love of God, the peace of God, by inviting spirit to lead you. And spirit is not really leading you. Spirit is seeing you as who you truly are. And as you see yourself, you're going to see others. Every encounter is a holy encounter. As I see my brother, I see myself. So am I seeing this physical body or am I seeing the meta, And the meta is that which is beyond the physical body. And of course, spirit doesn't use the body's eyes. So spirit doesn't see bodies. Spirit extends. The word is extends. That's called vision. And you find that in lesson 42. God is my strength. Vision is his gift. So if you say, like in lesson 47, God is the strength in which I trust. Well, that's nice. You can trust in something, right? Yeah, I trust in God. But what are you really trusting in? You're trusting in an amorphous? No, I'm trusting in the vision. Spirit is vision. Spirit sees by extending, not projecting. That's the whole idea of being either hostage to the ego or host to God. You're either extending the love I am, which is what God creates only creates the love of God by extending the love of God, or you are projecting and seeing something that is not there. And of course, the ego has to put something there. So you say, oh my God, I got to go the other way. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to catch up. I'm afraid of missing out. I got to do. So the world was made by the ego to project. Oh man, those people have so much more than me. I gotta work I gotta work 3 jobs in order to catch up. That's what this world looks like. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about the ego. And like I said in the earlier class, Dove is certainly living as an ego. There's no two ways about it. But the difference is my willingness to recognize that it's not true. And if it's not true, I don't take it seriously. I lighten up. And that's how you kind of move into the meta of the metaphysics. You see that there's really nothing outside of you to react to. You begin to recognize that the things I was valuing are valueless. Uh, why do I worry about things that I don't have? Why do I try and get things that I don't have when they really don't have any real value? And we were talking about that last week on page 54. Your worth is established by the love of God, not by anything in this world. And as long as we think that we need to be more worthy, we're listening to the ego. The ego said, well, you're not worthy enough yet. You don't have what others have. It's always about something that you have. No, in this world, anything that you might have doesn't really have any value to you whatsoever. He says, what value is it to you, the eternal, to have something that begins in time and ends in time? And anything that's quantitative, you can be sure, begins in time and ends. I want more. I want more of what I don't have yet. That's total ego thought system. That's the total ego thought system. Or I want what others have that I don't have, or I have something that others don't have, and I am so proud of doing that because I'm way ahead. Way ahead of what? I'm way ahead of something out there that doesn't even exist. That's why we study the 3 A's of metaphysics. That's why we study the 3 A's of metaphysics. So I'd like to say, can we use the rest of this time to share anything that comes to you that you'd like to share in this 3 A's of metaphysics? We've been together at least 3-4 months already, and we have gone through a lot. Is there anyone who'd like to share anything at all? Yes, Karen.
Thank you, Dove. Thank you, Michale. Yeah, hostage to the ego or host to God. And I like how you said that, the ego is constantly comparing. And that is why only equals are at peace, because equals can't compare. There's nothing to compare. Um, we're all fighting this. This is what came to me as Dove was speaking. We're all fighting the same hard battle in sanity and in insanity. We are all going through the same stuff here, different form, and recognizing that, seeing that makes us all the same, makes us all, equal in every way. It's not just being one with God. While we're here, we're equal. We're equal in every way. And seeing that is very helpful for me. So you talked about Christ's vision. Christ's vision sees all the same. We're either extending, as Dove said, we're creating, we're projecting and miscreating. So the willingness, what came to me when Dove shared about the willingness is the willingness to recognize that this world is a dream. Awareness of dreaming is the real function of God's teachers, and that is synonymous with forgiveness. Awareness of dreaming is synonymous with forgiveness. Awareness of what I thought my brother did to me has not occurred, that I am doing this to myself, that there is no one I can blame today, that I am dreaming. I am the dreamer of the dream. I am the decision-making mind. I am responsible for what I see. And what came to me this week, I was looking at miracle principle number 6, which basically says miracles are natural. And when they do not occur, something has gone wrong. So what has gone wrong is that we have blocked the awareness to love's presence. So I'm not forgiving when I'm blocking that. If the miracles are natural, forgiveness is natural. It is the truth of what we are is love. The Holy Spirit is always there. So there was two parts of the course that came to me. One was in chapter 3, where he talks about forgiveness as the most meaningful prayer. So let's see, chapter 3, I think it's section 5. Book is falling apart. I think it's the other part of my book. It's in pieces. My book is in pieces. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Chapter 3, section 5, Beyond Perception. So he says, prayer is a way of asking for something. It is the medium of miracles, but the only meaningful prayer is for forgiveness, because those who have been forgiven have everything. Once forgiveness has been accepted, prayer in the usual sense becomes utterly meaningless. The prayer for forgiveness is nothing more than a request that you may be able to recognize what you already have. So this is the whole thing of the course. The curriculum is reminding us that, know yourself. You have forgotten who you are. When I remember the truth of who I am, I'm at peace. When I forget, that is when all the problems occur. So forgiveness is our only function here. And it's what I've been doing on a regular basis, because I've been going through a lot of physical stuff. And the only thing I can do is forgive it. The only thing I can do is accept it. The only thing I can do is, know that this is happening. I can't change it, but I can change my mind about it. I can change my mind, and I can choose to be at peace. I can choose to allow it just to, what is the lesson here? What am I to learn? The continual lesson is what Dove said at the top of the hour. I am not this body. That is the continual lesson I hear. And I know that, I know that's the truth. And I don't know why my classroom feels so hard right now, except for um, Robert Schwartz, who wrote Your Soul's Plan, said that you are the courageous soul who wrote this difficult script. You were courageous enough, to go through these things to wake up. And that's I just have to trust that, hey, this is what's happening. Whatever it takes, I'm willing to go through it because I want to wake up from this dream of separation. I want to wake up from this belief that this body is my identity. So this also led me to lesson 134. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. So let's see, I think it was paragraph 6 to 9 came to me. This is a great lesson. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. This was one of our review lessons this week. So it is sin's unreality that makes forgiveness natural and wholly sane, a deep relief to those who offer it, a quiet blessing where it is received. It does not countenance illusions, but collects them lightly with a little laugh and gently lays them at the feet of truth. And there they disappear entirely. So this is not only reminding us that it's unreal, it's the sin's unreality is what makes forgiveness natural and whole. And it's a quiet blessing, and it's to be received lightly with a little laugh, not to take it seriously. When I take this seriously, when I take what I'm going through physically seriously, I'm miserable. I am in hell. So take it lightly, be gentle, and there they disappear. Paragraph 7, forgiveness is the only thing that stands for truth in the illusions of the world. It sees their nothingness and looks straight through the thousand forms in which they may appear. It looks on lies, but it is not deceived. It does not heed the self-accusing shrieks of sinners mad with guilt. It looks on them with quiet eyes and merely says to them, my brother, what you think is not the truth. Paragraph 8. The strength of pardon is its honesty, which is so uncorrupted that it sees illusions as illusions, not as truth. It is because of this that it becomes the undeceiver in the face of lies, the great restorer of the simple truth. By its ability to overlook what is not there, it opens up the way to truth, which has been blocked by the dreams of guilt. Now are you free to follow in the way your true forgiveness opens up to you. For if one brother has received this gift of you, the door is open to yourself. So this is the ability to overlook what is not there. This is true forgiveness, seeing that what I thought my brother did to me has not occurred, and what I think I'm doing to myself actually has not occurred either. I am dreaming this. I am making this up. It is not the truth. It is blocking the awareness to love's presence. And it's so obvious. It's so obvious because God's will for us is perfect happiness. Whenever I am not happy, I'm obviously, all of us are not doing God's will when we're not happy. So this is a paragraph 9, the final paragraph I'm going to read. There is a very simple way to find the door to true forgiveness and perceive it open wide in welcome. When you feel that you are tempted to accuse someone of sin in any form, do not allow your mind to dwell on what you think he did, for that is self-deception. Ask instead, would I accuse myself of doing this? So would I accuse myself of doing this? Yes, because I am accusing myself of doing this. And if I'm seeing it in my brother, it's because it came from my own mind and I projected it out onto him. So I am responsible. And I'm very clear on that today. And I'm very grateful for that today. Thank you for listening.
Okay, we're both grateful and thank you so much for your sharing, Karen. I see your hand is up, and Mickey, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the sharing in this meeting. I have a question and then I have something to say. Karen, I wrote down awareness of dreaming is forgiveness. Is that from course? Oh, yes.
Awareness of dreaming is the real function of God's teacher. And that is in the manual for teachers. I'm comparing it to forgiveness. I believe it's the same thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, same function.
Thank you. So here's some of my thoughts today and maybe even just yesterday. You know, I sometimes think about us being the modern day disciples. We are the students of truth. You know, I get on once a month, I get on with the Aegis Wisdom group with Torquem Saradarian's people down in Cave Creek, north of Scottsdale. And I used to meet with them when I lived in Mesa. But I get on that group and I'm like, these people are disciples. I mean, they're so committed. But so are we. And so are we. And the other study groups I'm in. And I'm a little bit uncomfortable calling us disciples, but that's just a word. It's like, yes, we are committed. And this morning, as you're talking, Karen, I'm like, we are the bringers of truth, bringers of the dawn. We are those people who are bringing this into consciousness. And I'm going to stop being playful and just speak truly. That's what we're doing. Well, of course it's hard. Of course I'm experiencing pain in my body. Of course I'm having challenges in relationship and with this and that in my life. Of course I am. I'm undoing the beliefs I still hold in the world or about myself. However to speak that. So that helps me with my willingness. This is what we're here for, and it's important. It matters. It's the only thing that matters today. couple of days ago, I was reminded of in the late 70s, late 90s or mid, like 1997 or so. It was after I had moved to Albuquerque from the Midwest, and I was out in Sedona, and I saw a flyer for a talk a woman was giving that night in Sedona, and I knew her from workshops and stuff I had done in Columbus with her, and she was from California at the time. And so I see her, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to this. So what did she speak about? This is back when people were saying, here's a list of symptoms we are going to be experiencing as we're going through the shifts in consciousness. Perhaps she was talking in terms of coming into another root race in our form. And in that process, we're going to be going through, I don't know what she said, headaches, body pain. I don't know what she said. I don't have that list, and it's been however 30 years, whatever. But it's like, oh yeah, let me put it in perspective. I don't know what anything is for. Can I simply stop giving the things I'm experiencing, body, relationships, finances, whatever, all of it? Can I stop giving it any meaning? Because that's where I go round and round, and I put myself in hell. And of course I'm in pain. Of course I'm not easily moving out of that, because all those thoughts are like, well, this isn't getting better. This is absolutely getting worse. Or this or that. This isn't what it's supposed to look like. I'm unhappy, I'm feeling scared, da 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 da. Those thoughts are they're deadly. Anyway, so I've had lots of thoughts. I'd like to put those to rest, but also just to be with compassion and an awareness of whatever this is we're going through. We're moving beyond it. We're going beyond it, and it has a purpose. And what's the purpose? Consciousness, consciousness, consciousness that heals the illusion, that heals the mind, thinking it can be separate from God. So that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Shamanda. I put up on the board earlier when you started talking. It's our awareness of our thinking that freezes. Of course, I have ego thoughts, but I'm aware of my ego thoughts. That's exactly why Ken Wapnick's favorite lesson. He says you only need 2 lessons. His favorite lesson is lesson 5. I am never upset for the reason I think. If it's not for the reason I think, why am I upset? It's because I'm listening to a madman talking to me, telling me to be upset. So it's my awareness of my thoughts that frees me up. I don't just think these things, oh, damn it, it should have been something different. That's being aware of your thoughts and realizing that your thoughts are not your thoughts. In fact, today's lesson comes under the banner of my mind holds only what I think with God. It's the 10 lessons from lesson 141 to 150. My mind holds only what I think with God. And God doesn't have any of the thoughts that's going through Dove's mind at all. Mickey, go ahead, and then Joni. Thanks.
Hi. Oh, let me put your cameras on. Yay. Awesome, awesome conversation. And I wanted to go back to something that Karen said. What she ended with was that question in the course, would I accuse myself of doing this? Which always baffled me. I mean, that one, and I had a conversation yesterday. Was it with you, Karen, about that line? I don't remember. You know, it was with somebody. Anyway, I went through the process where that question started making sense. And the only way it made sense to me, would I accuse myself of doing this? If I robbed a store, would I accuse myself of being a thief? Yeah, that was always my answer to this question. If I had an affair with a married man, would I accuse myself of being a wretched whore? Yes, I could never get that. So I did a hack, which I learned from Dove. You can do a hack. And what I did was I changed it to, would I accuse Jesus of doing this? And all of a sudden it was like, oh, okay, now I get it. Would I accuse the embodiment of love in this world, which I am, which we all are? Um, but the symbol that we have of that is Jesus. In our minds, we think, until we attain, awareness of our true nature, the symbol of love in this world for us is Jesus. And would I accuse Jesus of, being a selfish whore? Would I accuse Jesus of being a thief? And so I just want to, throw in a hack here that I used. If anyone else in the world is struggling with that question, that's how I figured it out. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that, Mickey. Yes, that's so true. Would I accuse pure innocence of being guilty? I would have to be out of my mind. Joni, yeah.
Thanks. I took to heart what you were, thanks, Mickey. I took to heart what you were saying about the 3 A's and how to apply it practically. And I still am in the classroom that I would prefer to avoid with money issues and lack and taking my ex back to court. But I've come up with AI one few sentences that I've been starting my day with, along with trying how do I accomplish or embody the metaphysics. So first, I become aware that my fear about court and money comes from the ego's belief in separation and lack. I admit that. Or abandonment by my ex through divorce. And then from the abandonment rather than from the truth of who I really am. And that's gets sticky for me, but I keep saying it, knowing that it's true. I accept that while I may need legal and financial support in the world of form, my peace and value are not determined by my wonderful ex. We have a relationship, Jack, court outcomes, or money. I own my responsibility to release the grievance, the judgments, and stop making this the past or the good old days the source of my identity. I used to be this. We used to own this. I was made this much or whatever. I practice forgiveness by preparing wisely. Today, I'll be sitting at my desk and doing paperwork and budgeting and protecting myself calmly and refusing to let bitterness define my mind. Finally, I choose to live as though love, peace, dignity, and even joy are possible while I go through this process this summer for me now and in the future. Amen. Pass.
Okay, amen. I see Rafi clapping and applauding. I was about to share something early, and then Rafi stepped away, but he's back, so I'm going to share it right now. This was inspired earlier by Sharanda, and I'm going to share it now. Sharanda was during Zulma's sharing said, I know better than to be affected by somebody else's talking about me, and of course there was a book. It's none of my business what other people say about me is none of my business, and that's pretty much what Sharanda was saying. And of course that comes from wanting approval. I mean, you care about what other people are saying if you want approval. And that reminded me, and I put this up at the time, and I'm going to put it up again. And what does it, and what does it say? It says, can you both seek approval, what other people approve of you, and you already have approval at the same time? Now that's from the Sedona method. And I'm going to let Rafi just say a few words on that, because he says, listen, the ego wants one of three things. You either want approval, and Dove agrees that that's what Dove wants. I want approval. I want control. Dove's not really into control, really. I want security. No, Dove is not looking for security, but I want approval. And let's put it up again. So when you say, I am as God created me, that's total approval. Now that I know that God created me, does it really bother me what other people say about me? Really? So I'm going to have Rafi just say a few words, and then we'll turn the mic back on over to you, Sharanda. Go ahead.
Can I interrupt? Because Rafi is the inspiration for that infographic I made. I don't know if you've ever seen it, Rafi. Approval.
Yeah. Yeah. Put it up again. Put it up again. Joni. Okay, there it is. Okay. All right. Approval, control, or security. That was made because everyone loves and honors your Sedona method. Do you want to say a few words, Rafi, on that?
Well, yeah, because all feelings culminate in those three wants. And all of those three wants are what motivates thought. And none of that has anything to do with the reality of what we are. But as long as, I remember this. And as long as, if we identify with it, then to use the technical term, we're screwed. But when you look at it, you realize it's just a lot of mental activity. And it hasn't got anything to do with the divinity that we are, that we are made of, that is our reality. Then it's a lot easier to take a look at it and say, well, okay, what are feelings? Well, it's just energy that came up to leave. It's not good. It's not bad. It's trying to get out. Everything is working for us, not happening to us. So could you let it go? The wanting approval is if I don't get approval and I'm cut off and I'm separate and I'm rejected, oh my God, I could die. So, but if I don't get approval, how can I get approval? Well, then I want control. I want to control people so they'll like me. And at the base of wanting control is, if you don't love me, I'll kill you. And we go right back to that murder thing that you guys have brought up so many times. But it's just another feeling. And all of that has to do with, I want to be safe and secure, because we think with these bodies and we think we have a limited lifespan. None of that is true. But if those feelings are there, they interfere with the peace, the infinite divine peace that we really are. And so, but since everything is working for us, they come up to leave, and it's only energy. Don't judge the enemy, and energy rather. It's not an enemy. It's just energy. It's not good. It's not bad, and it's coming up to leave. Welcome it and let it go. And when I do that, then there's the peace, the quiet. That is the reality. Reveals itself. So, and it's a practice. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And signals happen in the body. I feel it in my gut. I'll feel it in my chest. When I have resistance, I feel it in my right shoulder. When fear comes up, I can feel it in the toes on my left foot. And everything, okay, there is good. And eventually it gets to the point where, isn't that cute? Oh, look at that. It's adorable. Oh, good. Could I let it go? Yeah. Would I let it go? Yes. When? Now. Would I rather have approval, or would I rather want approval? Because they're opposites. Well, I'd rather have it. Well, then could you let go of wanting approval to have approval? Yes. Do you have approval? Yes. Could you give yourself more approval? Could you just love yourself because you are the way you are? Yeah. that you love yourself even more. Yes. You see, one of the things that comes up about this approval business is that the ego mind is constantly reminding us or trying to reinforce the fact that there's something wrong with us, that we're undesirable, that we're something to be disapproved of. I saw a program running in me that said I can't have my career goals, because if I had my career goals, I would get too much admiration. I would get too much public acclaim, and it wouldn't. Oh no, God, no, 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 no. At the other on the other side of it, then there's a duality of ego. I want approval. I want approval. I want approval. No, I don't. Yes, I don't. No, I don't. No. Who said you had to listen to any of that? That's stuff going on in the mind. We're not our minds. We're not these bodies. We're not our minds. So the best way to do that is to bring up all those feelings and let them go, and then all those thoughts quiet. A lot of those thoughts are running subconsciously, and one of the benefits of releasing that all of those non-loving feelings that come up is that it goes into the subconscious and quiets thoughts that you didn't even really know were there, and it does it automatically. The benefits for this go on and on and on and on. It can't even be described. But one of the basic things that Les Levens used to always say is keep holy company. That's what we're here doing right now. People of light consciousness. And that consciousness then comes together and raises up us to our higher consciousness. And our highest consciousness is what we are. Our highest beingness, our highest awareness, call it whatever you want. It didn't come from anywhere. It's not out there someplace. That's what we are. So we're getting in touch with the truth of what we are. By every time we release these negative thoughts, these non-loving feelings, and get into the quiet that is our truth. I hope that was helpful.
Very helpful. Thank you so much. And that thing when Matthew said about the murderer, Jesus tells you in the Course of Miracles, there's a murderer in all of us. So you might say, well, I would never kill an ant. No. Whenever you judge anyone, including yourself, you have murdered that person off. To judge is to murder. And notice lesson 198, only my judgment can hurt me. Only my forgiveness can set me free. So whenever we judge anyone, you've murdered them off. Go ahead, Karen. Well, actually, I think Sharanda left. She was here in the room. And all right, go ahead, Karen.
She said she'll be back. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Rafi. That was very helpful. And it is the aim of this course. He tells us in the very first beginning, in the introduction, that the aim of this course is to remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. That's exactly what you're talking about, because we're constantly doing that all day long. So thank you. That was so helpful. It helps us to be more conscious of when we're seeking approval, wanting control, or security. It really, really does. It makes us more conscious and aware of it. I just wanted to address this question again. Would I accuse myself of doing this? Now, we're on two levels here. We're either in ego or Holy Spirit. So yes, of course, in Holy Spirit, who would accuse innocence? And I love what Stephen Dean I know Dove knows Stephen Dean, and probably some of you here know Stephen Dean. He's a course teacher. He's on TikTok. He's all over the place. But Stephen Dean said, would I accuse myself of doing this? The answer is no, because your true self couldn't do it. It's just the observer. So yes, that's the true self. But on the other hand, when I'm here in this dream, I would accuse myself because I am aware, like Dove said, I am aware of my ego thoughts. So I'm accusing myself because if I'm not accusing myself, I mean, how could I not be? Because to give and to receive are one. If I think my brother did this, I'm wrong. My brother didn't do anything to me. What I thought my brother did to me has not occurred. I am doing this to myself. So yes, I am accusing myself. I am accusing myself because I'm doing this to myself. But no, in truth, we can't accuse ourselves. Yeah. So I just wanted to make that distinction there. of level 1 and level 2. Now, in the course, there actually is a reference to this in the healing example, which is in chapter 27, section 5. And he says, and the only way this can be done is in the holy instant. And that's what he's telling us here. And that's what we're talking about, above the battleground. So in paragraph 6, he says, come to the holy instant and be healed. For nothing that is there received is left behind on your returning to the world. And being blessed, you will bring blessing. Life is given you to give the dying world. And suffering eyes will no longer accuse, but shine in thanks to you who blessing gave. The holy instant's radiance will light your eyes and give them sight to see beyond all suffering and see Christ's face instead. Healing replaces suffering. Who looks on one cannot perceive the other, for they cannot both be there. And what you see, the world will witness and will witness too. So this is exactly what we were talking about. Whatever we see, it's whatever teacher we're listening to. And when we are using Christ's vision, as Dove spoke about earlier, we will see the face of Christ in every brother. We wouldn't accuse anyone, including ourselves. So I just love that. And I thought that really tied in. So thanks. You're muted, Dove.
We were discussing this in the earlier class that starts at 8:30, and Robert created a story that was read by Laurie Coburn about liking heaven to music. And what I got out of that is heaven is where there is harmony where we are in unison, in oneness and sameness, so that of course, we talk about our words used. God doesn't use words. The language of heaven is abstract. Now, what do you mean by abstract? Music is abstract, but it's perfect and beautiful and whole and complete in harmony only. Now, when there's lack of harmony, what happens? And I was going to put this in the chat right now. The music fades in discord. Now, discord is the opposite of harmony. When we are one and same and equal, and as Robert's new posted, he posted up here earlier, which he took from Karen's favorite line in the chorus, or one of her favorites. Only equals are at peace. That's what Jesus says. Only equals are at peace. Now, he could have said this: only equals are in harmony, and and harmony is exactly what the chapter 8, section 3. Every encounter is a holy encounter. So harmony and holiness and oneness and sameness, even though they're different words, they all say the same thing. It's the harmony of oneness. And that's what heaven is. I mean, there's no talking in heaven. There's this heavenly music. This music comes way before anything in language was ever born or made. We made languages. Heavenly orchestral music is of God. So what happens when we start to go in different directions? Well, I'm going to go my way. I don't care about your way. That's called discord. And if you ask AI what discord is, this is what I got, what I just put up. The music faded in discord. So even AI is looking at harmony as heavenly music. And once we agree to disagree, and you get that in the Course in Miracles where it says, Uh, can't you see that all of your misery comes from your strange belief that you, the Holy Son of God, is powerless? And when you give your power away to the ego, what do you think is going to happen? Discord. You're out of harmony, baby. So this whole course is about to bring us back to sameness, equality, unity, union. I mean, how many other ways can you say it? Rafi, go ahead.
Yeah, you just reminded me of a way to get in touch with as soon as we get into that ego victim mentality. A quick way out of it is what I use anyway is, am I peace right now? Am I love right now? Am I aware? Awareness right now? And as soon as you do that, we are that. And then all of a sudden, all of those ego victim ideas just fade away because we're one of the truth. Am I happiness, bliss, joy right now? Ta-da! Because that's what we truly are. And as soon as I get in touch with that, all of that other stuff, which isn't real, let's face it, feelings aren't facts. They're just feelings. They just go away. Thoughts aren't, we didn't think up those thoughts purposefully. I didn't say, oh, I'm going to feel lousy right now, or I'm going to think that these, we don't, that stuff just shows up on its own. And another way to do it, for me to do it, when a thought shows up, oh, that's just another thought. Or, isn't that cute? That's adorable. That's adorable. Look at that. It's afraid that this won't happen or this is going to happen. That's adorable. That's so cute. And adorable is the doorway to freedom. I mean, as long as we're in that, the ego, all of those ego mentations, they don't have any power unless we identify with them. And as soon as I don't identify with them, bye bye. So thanks.
All right, thank you for that. And you kind of reminded me, pause for inspiration, which actually Joni just put up a card, which I believe she got from the website that I put up, pauseforinspiration.org, which was created by a lovely Course in Miracles teacher. Her name is Reverend Mary Gerard Lenahan. And if you go to that website, she'll give you all the kind of materials, which I guess Joni got from her, cards and things like that, that you can bring home and use to teach people in your family and community about now. Pause for inspiration is really about pausing to hear the heavenly music of harmony. That's what inspiration really is, to hear the heavenly music of harmony. Karen, go ahead.
Yes, pause for inspiration is what my favorite new quote by Gloria Wapnick is: only speak when spoken through. That is it. Only speak when spoken through, because that's the inspiration. I love what Rafi just shared. Thank you, Rafi. And it reminds me that in the course, and it's practice. This is practice, practice, practice. Like, it's so much practice. It's all the time. It's every single moment of every day. The course says the holy instant, you can be in the holy instant as long as you like. It's just constantly listening to only one voice, or just not listening to those ego thoughts. That one, or either way you want to look at it, it's the same. Now, in chapter 5, section 2, the voice for God, this was the very first. I love the course, and this was the very first. Not that it matters. It doesn't matter if you memorize anything, but to me, this was the very first thing I memorized, and it stays with me, and I love it. He says, even in this world, you can hear only one voice. It takes effort and great willingness to learn. So this gives me so much inspiration, because Jesus, as our role model, is telling us you can be in the holy instant as long as you like, and you can listen to no other voice, because I did it. So can you. We are the same. So the practice is always there. And that's what Jesus is our role model, because that's what he did. So I know it's possible. It just takes a lot of practice. So it's very inspiring to me. Thank you.
Okay, very good. That's the only time Jesus uses the word great willingness. It's in chapter 5, section 2, to hear only one voice. It takes great, usually he says, just a little willingness. All you need is a little willingness. The one time he says great willingness is to hear only one voice. Thank you all for being here, for joining in. It's another one of our 3 A's of metaphysics. See you next week, same time, same station. God bless. Thank you all.
Thanks, you guys. Wonderful, wonderful sharing this morning. I'm so grateful for you and grateful for everyone who joined us. And thank you, Joni. And I'm hoping you'll be back more often.